Alright, hey everybody, it's been a very long time since I've made a tutorial, but we're going to be doing a GTA 5 interior, or an MLO is what it's known as. I've gone ahead and put together this really large document of information regarding everything that has to do with GTA 5 mapping and some of the general information that you may not be aware of. So, what you need is 3ds Max. You need OpenIV, you need Codewalker, and you also need Jim's Evo, which is a plugin for 3ds Max, and we use 3ds Max 2016 Service Pack 2. It's a little hard to obtain sometimes. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with this. So what you need to know is that once you have all these things installed, we're going to start off in Codewalker. So make sure you go to their Discord and get the latest release for that. So we're going to go ahead and hop into Codewalker here, and make sure that you have Entity turned on here. Go ahead and give this a second to load. Actually, it looks... I have never seen it look like this before. That is really interesting. We're going to go ahead and restart Codewalker real quick. Alright. So I do have a building already picked out that we're going to go ahead and use. And I'll tell you why we're going to use it exactly. Because it seems like it's a pretty good interior to work with. Or not interior, exterior. So we have exteriors and we have interiors. Alright, so down here in Paleto Bay, we have a little building over here. It is this yellow one here, right? So we have all this wonderful stuff on top of it, and what we need to do is we need to determine quite a few things from this, okay? So I have OpenIV open in the background, and it's pointing towards a completely separate GTA 5 copy right now. Same with GTA 5, actually have it installed in a totally different directory, and that's how we're going to be working with it, so I don't corrupt anything on accident. So we're going to take a look and figure out what building this might be. Okay, so we have this little arrow up here. If you press T, this will bring up the toolbar. Scroll in and out to change the how much you move around when you are pressing WASD to move around. If you left click, you can move your camera if you hold it down and such. And if you have the mouse select here in the selection section and you right click, you'll be able to select different things. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to look for this building specifically. So we need to figure out which one this is. And what we can do, because we will be able to just delete the stuff that we don't need. So in this instance, I'm just going to delete like some of these exterior things so I can get a better view of the building. And try and get the right model selected. So that's closer to what we want. So it looks like it is this one. So what I've done is deleted all the stuff that we don't need, and that will allow us to easily figure out which building we need to be clicking on here. So it's going to be CS103 SHPS1. So that is the name of the model that we will be modifying. So we're going to search for it, and down here we're going to click on Search in All Archives. And there we go. So it looks like we have just this one, hopefully. That's what it looks like. There might be an HIDR model as well, but we can open it up to verify what it looks like, and that definitely does look like our building. So let's go ahead and export this. So we're going to export to open format. It's going to go on your desktop. I made a folder called Best Building. So what we're going to do is we're going to name these folders. One is OpenIV exports. 2 is 3DS exports. And then the final folder, we're just going to call it final. So our first step is OpenIV exports. So we're going to select that folder, and that's going to get extracted inside of there. So let's do a double check here and make sure that we do not have any additional YDR files in here, just in case. So it looks like they all have the same name. There is this details one. We could go ahead and take a look at it just to make sure. And yeah, that's not going to really affect us, so we can pretty much ignore this one. Alright. So we have that one all done. Now the next step is figuring out collisions. So collisions are fun. So we're going to go to collision. And what we're going to do is try and determine which collisions we need. So there may be more than one. So if I right click one of these polygons, I'll be able to tell which collisions belong where. So the first one I have is CS1 030, okay? So we're going to copy that. We're going to go to our search. We're going to search for it. And this is for OpenIV, by the way. Make sure you're in OpenIV for this part. I'm going to click on this. And we have 030, right? So we could take a look at it just to double check what this looks like. And that is our building there. All right, so we'll go ahead and do export to open format. And we're just going to export it to the OpenIV exports. And then we're going to take a look at it again. So here's where things get weird. Sometimes Rockstar likes to do this. So you see how there's this big, object just kind of blocking this? Yeah, no, there's actually something else behind it. So if you move it out of the way and you right-click it, you'll actually find potentially another one. So we're going to copy the name of that one, and we're going to search for it. And it looks like it's going to be this one here. So we're going to do right-click, export to open format, save to OpenIV exports. All right, and now let's, because now we got this one out of the way, let's just, fucking do another check, because you never know. You never know with Rockstar and what they have in here. And that looks like that's all of the collision, it seems. Okay, so that's pretty good. So we've just messed up this building and all that sort of stuff in game. We don't have to restore it or anything because it doesn't save. So don't be afraid of just moving and deleting stuff to try and get to what you actually need. The last thing that we need is an occlusion, actually. So this is a little more interesting. So this is kind of difficult to figure out what the hell I'm talking about. So there's these blue cubes inside of some of these buildings, and they prevent you from going inside. So what we need to do is figure out which ones are blocking us from going inside. And as you can see, there's this white little box, and if I right click it, it's going to tell us a little about where this specific occlusion belongs. So if I go ahead and search for it, we're going to see CS1 occlusion 10, okay? We're going to go to the original file, and we're going to go and right click it and go show in mods folder, right? Right click, show mods folder. And it's going to bring us to the one in our mods folder now, and this is the one that we want to modify. So make sure that edit is on, and then you go to edit on it. And we're going to try and figure out which occlusion this might be. It says icenter X is -66 for this box. So hopefully we'll be able to find that. So if we do -66, and it looks like the Y center is 25946, it's going to be this one right here. So what you're going to do, delete it. It's now gone. Hit save, and that's one of them. It looks like there might be another one. So it looks like there's another box here. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and delete this one too. So we're going to right click that specific one, and it's in the same file. So we're going to go ahead and check that out. Show mods folder, number 10. And let's just make sure that we remove number 66. It is gone. That is great. So let's take a look at what the coordinates for this are. -68. -68 on the icenter X, 25944. And we're going to remove that one as well. Perfect. All right. So now we have what seems like both occlusions that are blocking our way removed, at least from what I can tell. So we may have to go back to this in the future and remove another one, but it does look like we got most of them, I think. It was just the two... Oh, wait. Hold on. Yeah, it looks like it was just the two that were here that were causing us issues. All right. So now that we have that resolved, we should just have to export the one that we modified, which is this one, to our OpenIV exports. Actually, this one goes into our final, this is going to go into our final. So we'll go ahead and put that in there. Okay, so occlusion is done. It's in our final folder. So let me show you what we just did. We extracted 2 collision files. That's what Obion is. And we have 1 model file, and we have a folder with model textures. Okay, very cool. Now we're ready to begin the process of modding our interior. So we're going to open up 3ds Max, and get started with that. So let's open that up. And we're going to import our models. We're not going to import them all at once because that's just not a good thing to do. But we're going to work on them one at a time. So first one we're going to do is the Obion file. So let's open that up and give it a moment. And as you can see, we have nothing here. But that's not entirely true. If you just scroll out, you will see it very far away in the distance. So if you click on any part of it and then press Z, that'll bring you right on over to it. All right, so here is our first test for this, okay? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna remove this big ugly block from this model specifically. So I'm just gonna click on the box, just hit delete. It is now gone, okay? It's gone, we're gonna leave that little square up there, not too worried about it. So we're gonna now export this model to 3ds exports, because this is a step 2 process. So it means that we've now processed this collision, we've removed what we don't want to be a collision, and now we can move on to the next part. So, now that we have that, we can go ahead and delete everything that was inside of here. Just go ahead and delete, and we're going to import our next one. So we're going to go to Best Building, OpenIV Exports. We did this one already, so let's do Hi at CS1. So this is the one where we're going to be cutting out the door, okay? So we have this door here, right? And what we want to do is we want to remove the polygons for it. So we're going to minimize that. We're going to click on it. We're going to go over here to whatever this is, modify, okay? We're going to click on polygon. So we have these different polygons here for the door, and we want to remove them. We might be able to get away with elements. Yeah, we could probably get away with element. So we're going to click on all this stuff and just start cutting out our door, all right? Just remove whatever we need to get our door to look as good as it can, right? We might need to do polygons on this. It seems like this is a whole different model here. So we're going to need to figure out what this one is. Oh yeah, so we're going to keep going through it until we figure out what we need to delete from this. Just like this. There we go. And it looks like we have our door. All right, so that's totally cut out at this point. So that means that we can export this model and it is now ready to go. So let's do export. I think I accidentally just opened another copy of Streamlabs. Let's give it a second for everything to respond. All right, there we go. So export, we're going to do 3ds exports. We're going to hit OK. And that's the one we want to do. And then I would just want to state one more thing. It is incredibly important that you do not move anything. Don't move anything, because it will mess things up. Don't move coordinates. You can resize boxes and stuff, but be very, very careful about how you manage these collisions, because it will affect other parts of this map. So make sure you're selecting the right stuff. Make sure you're deleting the right stuff, because it's all very, very, very important. Okay, so now that I've gotten that out of the way, we are now done with this part here. So we can go ahead and delete it. And now we are going to import our final model, which is our actual model that is drawn. It's the 10 kilobyte one, super tiny. So let's open this one up, and it's going to ask us for a texture folder, and that is what the other folder is inside of OpenIV exports. So we're going to click on that, and it's going to go ahead and export that for us, or import, sorry. So give that a second, let it figure out what it needs, and a bunch of textures didn't load, but it's not a big deal. And as you can see, we don't really know where we are. So what you can do is click on this little home icon over here. That'll take us right back to the center of the grid. Cool. So here is our really weird looking building. And what we're going to do is we are going to modify this building, just the editable mesh, and we're going to remove some polygons. Because just like before, we don't really need these polygons so we can make a proper door. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and get this all figured out. So we'll just delete some of our polygons in here. Getting a little bit close there, so let's just make sure we get every one of them that we can. Just like this, and that looks pretty clean. It looks good to go. All right, so we have our door. So what we can do with this model now is we can export it, because it's now ready to be exported. We're going to go to 3ds exports, hit OK, continue. Give it a moment. It's very important. Okay, excellent. So we have all of that ready to roll, and before we start our interior, I actually want to set up our DLC pack first. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to minimize this down. We're going to open IV again, or go to open IV again, and we're going to go ahead and start working with this. So inside of DLC packs, we have, it's going to be mods update x64 DLC packs. In order to get this file, you kind of have to modify some things. So if you want to get to that point pretty quickly, what you can do is we need to go to, let me minimize some of this. So we're going to go to update, okay, in the original game files. We're going to go update RPF, common, data, DLC list. Go ahead and make sure edit mode is on, hit yes, and then you right click it and you go show in mods folder, right? And once it's in the mods folder, you're going to have this XML file here, and we're going to go edit this. We're going to go all the way down to the bottom, and we're going to determine what our DLC name is going to be, okay? So we're going to make an item here. I'm going to remove some of these other ones for now. And we're going to have, we're going to call it best building, okay? That is going to be the name of our DLC pack, just best building. And we're going to hit save. And then in x64, you can make a new folder, and then another new folder. And this folder that's inside of DLC packs is going to be called best building, okay? So here is our best building folder, and in the document that we have here, you will find an RPF file a little bit down inside of recommended way of handling mapping. You'll find a Google Drive link. You can click on that, and we're going to go ahead and download this file. And I'm just going to overwrite the one on my desktop because it's just an example anyway. And we'll minimize that all out. So let's add our RPF file. So we're going to go to new, add. You're going to go to desktop, dlc.rpf, hit open. Here it is. We're going to go inside of here. We're going to go to content first. We're going to edit this. We're going to change the name of DLC stuck to DLC best building. And we're going to change objects.rpf to object. Right? So DLC best building, and we're going to do that for everything that's inside of here that says DLC stuck or whatever else. And then we're going to rename this YP file as well. So we're going to call that bestbuilding.ytyp. So bestbuilding.ytyp. And down here we have the same stuff. We're just going to go ahead and make it object, and we're going to do bestbuilding.ytyp. All right, so if everything should look good, you have best building for all your DLCs, you have object.rpf, and then you hit save. Cool. So let's go ahead and head on into the object.rpf file here. And you're going to see there's a bunch of old stuff in here. We're going to go ahead and remove it so you guys can kind of understand how to copy and modify a DLC pack so that it's easy to understand. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove all these static collisions. Yes, delete them. We're going to keep manifest, keep YTYP, keep MLO, delete the rest of these YMaps. And we're going to delete these as well, all these YDR files. And there we go. So we have 3 files left in here, and the first thing that we're going to do, we're not going to modify these right away. We're going to import some of the stuff that we've already done. So let's do import open formats. We're going to go to best building, 3ds exports. And we're going to import all 3 of these that we have just modified. Very cool. So if we check out this drawable object, you should see a nice open hole there, which is great. Let's take a look at this one, and we're going to go double check it. Nice open hole, good to go. And our last one, double check. which is, I'm sorry, where the heck is it? Ah, right here. Didn't see it because of what we did to it. All right, so the entire front part of that is now missing, okay? So that's all modified, it's all removed, and that sort of stuff as well. All right, so what is next? Our next step here is going to be that we need to create the interior. I mean, we have all this stuff here, but we can't really use it yet because we need to do some other things first. But to really make sure that all of this is loading the way that it should, what we can do is we can restart Codewalker after all of this is set up and make sure you have your DLC list set up for this specific building. We're going to go take a look in the actual Codewalker to make sure everything is good to go. And one other thing that I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to import that that YMap file that was finalized. We're going to get that imported in here as well. So let's go to Edit. Let's go Add. And let's go ahead and go to Final. We're going to open that one up as well, just to get that in this little DLC archive we got, right? And that's all saved. Okay, so let's open Codewalker. And one of the things that I like to check, I go to Tools, Options, and I make sure that it's using my second copy of GTA 5. I always try to make sure. And then we're going to do Enable Mods and then Enable DLC. Okay, we're going to wait for that to load. It might take just a few moments. We're going to press T once it's loaded. There we go. Good to go. And we're going to load our DLC. So we should see it in here. It's called Best Building from the DLC level. Click on that. And then once we go over there to check out the building, we should not see any collision. We're going to verify a few things to make sure everything is going the way that it should be. So we're going to go ahead and zoom on over there real quick. We're going to zoom in with our scroll wheel. And it looks like it doesn't seem to give a shit. So, here's what we're going to check. Collision. It does not seem to be loading what we want it to be loading. At least that's from what it seems. So, we may have forgotten a step here. But we can verify all of this. So let's go to Best Building. Let's go to Common, DLC list. And it looks like we, oh wait, that's the wrong file. Let's go to the right file. Update, data, DLC list. Yeah, Best Building is definitely in here. Let's double check our content. DLC Best Building. That looks good. Maybe we should try and reloading some of these, or renaming these. We'll do Best Building, YTYP. And we'll call this Best Building MLO. Oops. Rename Best Building MLO. And manifest should be fine. Let's take a look at manifest. Let's go ahead and get manifest figured out here. So we'll just do best. Oh, because we renamed it Best Building MLO, we're going to use the same name inside of manifest. So inside of manifest, YMF, Bleeder bar MLO is going to be Best Building MLO. Then we're going to do Best Building YTYP. We're basically replacing all the old data that's going to be inside of here. This one down here, our interiors, we're not going to be able to modify that just yet, so we'll just hit save. And let's try and load this again, because that's really interesting that it does not want to load our modified files here. So let's restart Codewalker once more. If it doesn't work, I will take the extra steps so that we can go double check in game that this is working the way that it should, because sometimes things just don't always go the way that you want them to go when you're trying to make a tutorial, because it does happen from time to time. Nothing is ever perfect. So let's give it a second and wait. Okay, best building. Let's go take a look, and if it doesn't show up with the missing collisions and things like that, we will try loading it in game just to double check and make sure we're all good there. So, yeah, that does not seem to care about us whatsoever. We can try reloading it one more time, maybe near it, just to see. And then best building. Yeah, it seems to not care. That's fine though. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and just, we're going to export some of these files here. We have our YBNs and our YDRs and everything else as well. We're going to just export the YDR, YMAP, YBN, and the other YBN. And we're going to go ahead and take those and we're going to make a new DLC. I use Alt-V, so that is my choice for working with GTA 5 and things like that. So I'm going to make a copy of this example building, and I'm just going to name this, I don't know why I did that. We're just going to do best building. That's what we're going to call it. All lowercase. I'm going to go stream, just delete everything that's in there. And I'm going to export this over to Alt Life, Resources, Best Building, Stream, Select. And we're going to go check and see what this looks like in game. Okay. And if you're wondering what this looks like as far as content and stuff goes, we're going to load it in our server CFG like this. And inside of best building, we have two files. We have a resource.cfg, looks like this. And we have stream.cfg, and that looks like that. Okay, very simple. Don't have to do anything else to it. And we have our stream files in there, okay? So what we're going to do is we are hopefully going to start the game, or the game and the server. We're going to go in game. We're going to check and see if our collision and our stuff is working, because from what I can tell, I'm pretty sure we removed the collision for these. So that's a little strange that it doesn't want to show up in Codewalker this time. Yep, all removed there as well. And also removed there as well. So in that regard, we will be in game in just a moment. And then we can determine where we are at as far as this process goes. Alright, so we are now in game. And we're going to teleport over to that building and take a look for ourselves. Because we're going to be using it just for multiplayer anyway, so it is what it is. Let's do a little teleport. And it looks like, yeah, looks about right. So, very strange. It kind of looks like there might be a little bit of an occlusion issue there, but it does seem to be working. So we're going to leave it as that, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at what needs to be done next. Okay, so let's minimize this, go back to 3ds Max, and we're going to go ahead and delete. Actually, we're going to keep this. We're going to remove this little thing here. We're going to make a new layer. So if you go down here and you do sort by layer, that's what you need to do there. Then you do create new layer. We're going to call this our shell. And we're going to begin mapping our interior. So how does this work? We're going to leave this here because we're going to use that as a reference to create our interior, right? So what I need to determine is where we need to draw our interior. Okay, so I'm looking at this and I'm getting a reference. It looks like it's going to be on this side. This looks like our door frame. is what that looks like. Yep. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and draw an interior inside of this. So we have quite a few things overhanging the top. So we're going to remove those from the original model because we're not going to save this. We can just kind of remove them. And that'll help us figure out where everything is specifically. Okay, so that looks like this. That is our doorway right there. That's what we needed out of that. All right, we're gonna leave the top part there. Let's see if we can delete this whole element here. Hopefully, save us a little bit of a hassle. Let's make this top, like fully top, like this. Oh, I did it again. All right, so we're gonna leave it like that so that we can just get the stuff that we need to remove, so we can easily see what we're working with here. And we have what looks like, yeah, that's exactly what we need there. And then we have the door frame, which is really far up there. Okay, now I know what we're working with here. So let's go ahead and we're gonna do the lining of our interior here, okay? So what I want to do is I want to create a entry hall as well as some other things. So what I did is I went to create and then I went to shapes, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw something that's going to literally fit this doorway, okay? So I'm gonna start right up here in the front. I'm gonna go backwards a little bit like this. And then I'm gonna go this way, over here to the side. I'm gonna probably go about right there. I'm just gonna give the interior quite a bit of room to breathe around the edges. And we're going to just go all the way around with our little line tool here, right? Just like this. We're going to get right up on this line that we have here as a reference. We're going to go right up to the doorway, and we want to go to there, but we need to go here first. So we're going to kind of just eyeball this like this. Get that right on in there. And did we go to the first one? Oh, we went to the second line, so we'll go to there. Like that, and we will click like that. Close spline. Yes. All right. So somewhere in there, we do have a proper a line going on in there. Hopefully, actually, it's a little higher up. You can kind of see the edging of it right there. So what we have now, we have a box inside of here, right? So what we can do to see that looks like this. Okay. So if we use this little light bulb here, we'll be able to toggle things on and off to see what we're working with. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this line and we're going to move it. Hopefully we're going to move it down. Actually, we may not be able to do that just yet. Okay, yeah, we can. If you just click on it again, it'll bring it up. We're going to move it down just a little bit. Try and get it in as low as we can to the actual floor. So it looks like the floor is about... probably this first or second line here is what it looks like. So there we go. That is our little interior there, right? So we're going to hide the model like this. I'm going to right click this. We're going to do editable poly. Okay, so now we have a single plane that we can work with. This is our flooring, so to speak. What we're going to do is we're going to open this up. We're going to go to border. Click on the edge, go to extrude. We're going to change width to 0, just like that. And now we're going to make some walls. And we need to make sure that these walls are confined within the space of the original model. All right. So we're going to change this up and down until it is probably about right there would be okay. Let's take a look. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So we're going to hit this little OK button here. And our next step is we're going to cut out the door. Okay, so we need a good look at this door, right? Make sure everything is as good as it can be. So this looks like it was in the front view. Let me just double check that. At least I believe it was. It's very hard to see. So what we're going to do is we're going to hide line and shell. Just kind of collapse that for now. We're going to remove some polygons that we don't exactly need anymore. because it is making it quite difficult to figure out what we're working with. So we're going to remove some of this, just like the other parts of the building, so we can really get a good focus on the door frame itself, if that makes sense. So let's remove just some of that, some of this over here, and maybe a little bit of that. Yeah, that might be good enough that we can work with it. Yeah, so now we have something that's a little easier to see, hopefully. Oh yeah, much easier. See how we have a door frame right there? Perfect. So we're going to open up that shell again, and we're going to take a look at how we can cut the door into our building. I mean, we could cut a window in as well, but we're not doing that for this one. We're just doing the door so you can walk on in there. So here's where this begins. Let's make sure that we're on our front view here, or whatever view gives you a perfect view of your door frame. And we're going to go ahead and select our line model here. We're going to do a little bit of slicing. So in order to do that, we're going to do a vertex, I believe. I'm going to go down to quick slice, and we are going to hopefully cut out our door. So we're going to zoom really far in on here, and we're going to try and do a slice that's directly across. So it's going to look just like this. We're going to do a direct slice like this. So if you go further out, it's going to change the angle, but if you get really close, you can get a nice flat line, just like this. And then we click, and that is now sliced all the way across. Okay, so we have this beautiful slice in our entire interior now. And actually, we might be able to just do it on the individual polygon. Ooh, we might be able to. Let's give that a try, actually. Maybe that'll save us some trouble here in the future. So let's hide these. Why can't I? Oh, there we go. We got to do select and move. All right, so we're going to select that. Let's do a quick slice again. Show our model. And we're just going to try and slice just our little doorway here. Just our doorway. So we're going to start right over here and get a nice, hopefully nice slice right across. It's really hard to see if you can't tell. It's like hiding behind everything. But if you just kind of just get close enough to it, and then you just kind of assume, and you left click, it should just slice it right in half for us. So let's take a look, and we will see how we did. So let's turn off quick slice. Let's hide the other model. Let's check our polygons. It looks like, yes, we did. We got it. So now we have just the one little door there that we can now delete. So now we have our little hallway that'll go right into the front entrance of our building, right? And then the other thing that we may need to worry about here, this might actually clip through. So that is something that we need to take into consideration here. So we need to figure out how we're going to handle that specifically. So what we could do is we could probably slice here as well as here, and then make a bridge across, and that'll get us the hallway that we pretty much need exactly. So let's go ahead and get that resolved, so to speak. So we're going to use a little polygon here, and we're going to try and get these perfectly sliced. We're just going to select those two there. We're going to go to our, I think we're going to go to a side view. So we're going to go to like a left view. Quick slice. Let's take a good look at it. And we have our reference line here, which is great. So now what we can do is just kind of get it just a little bit similar to it, because it's going to end up getting deleted anyway. So we're just going to slice right across, just like that. And it should have sliced, yep, it sliced the other one as well. Perfect. Cool, cool, cool. All right. So let's delete this upper portion here. We're going to delete this. We're going to delete this over here as well. So now we have like a little entrance thingy going on there. And if we select our edges, let me reset my home here, make it a little easier on myself. We should... Oh, that's interesting. What happened there? They are not even at all. Hold on, hold on. Ooh, it looks like we made a mistake. Hold up. Ooh, that's not good. Let's try that again. We're gonna go all the way back. There we go. All right, let's try this again. And hopefully we won't have the issue that we just had. So we're gonna select... Oh, no, we're good, we're good. So if we just delete those... Yeah, that's so strange. I guess we just like accidentally sliced a few things when we were doing the modifications. Okay. That's fine, that's fine. All right, so now we can actually work with this properly. All right, so we got the two edges here that we're selecting. We're gonna hit bridge. Yeah, we're gonna hit bridge. And now we have a bridge between those two edges, right? The next one we're gonna do is these two edges up here. And we're gonna bridge those as well. And there we go. We have our little entrance helper. We have our walls. And the last thing that we can do is our roof. And we can just do that by selecting two edges, hitting bridge, and we have a full room. Cool. So now that all of that is complete, we can center our model, because at this point we have everything else. We can just go ahead and delete the original, and now we have just our room. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and separate some of this stuff so that we can work with it in a little bit of an easier manner. So X, Y, and Z, 0, 0, 0. Okay. We got our little box room. Good to go. So, what do we do at this point? Texturing. Texturing is what we do at this point. We have it in the 0 axis for the whole thing. If you weren't able to change the position of it, make sure you have select and move selected here at the top. It's very, very important. We're going to rename this to room, and we're going to start actually separating some things. So our first thing, roof. We're going to separate that. So we're going to go ahead and we selected it. Down here we have a detach, do detach, and we'll call this roof, hit OK. Okay, next one, floor. Click on the floor. It should select all the little individual elements there, and then if you just do detach, rename it to floor. And then your last one, which is room, which should just be all of this. Let me just double check. Yep, that is our room. We're going to go ahead and take it and rename it to walls. Okay. So here's our full room, totally ready to go. We're going to save this for now. We're going to call this best building, because that's what we name it. Make sure you always save when you can. And we can begin the process of getting this room to work. Okay, so give me 1 sec. I'm going to take a drink of water. Okay, so where do we begin? Let's begin with walls. We're going to do some texturing on the walls. So we're going to go up here to Material Editor. You're going to go to Modes, and you're going to set it to Compact Material Editor. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to select one of these balls up here. I'm selecting number 7. We're going to go down to this drop-down menu. We're going to name this My Walls. Standard. Make it Jim's V material. It's just to the right of it, so click on Jim's V material. We're going to make this a wood wall, and we're going to make it a solid. And we're going to make the room ID 1. Okay, so wood, solid, large, room ID 1. And now that we have that, we open up Jim's Evo, and we're going to go to, we're going to do Show Shaded Material and Viewport, and we're going to go to Apply. Okay, so it should be a slightly different color for all of your walls now. And that is exactly what we need. Now go to Material Editor. You're going to see just my walls in here, usually. If you don't, reapply it a couple times, it'll eventually go. Hit Options. We're going to go to, let's see, Diffuse Texture. Going to go Embed. Don't do this normally. You should just use a texture dictionary, but for this tutorial, we're just going to Embed. We're going to click on Empty. And we're going to go ahead and determine what texture we're going to use. So let me go figure out documents, textures. I have a couple textures in here. I'm going to use this wooden one right here. Hit OK. It's going to be slightly darker, no texture. You're going to be like, what the heck? Why does it look like that? Well, if you don't know, models need UVW mapping. So let's talk about what that is. Basically, you take textures and you apply them to the surfaces of an individual model. That's what UVW mapping is. And to make it incredibly easy, because we're working with buildings, this is really easy to do. You can do unwrap UVW for anything that's super, super complex. Otherwise, you can just do UVW map. And as you can see, we have something going on there. If we change this to a box, because it is a box, and we set all of our length, width, and height to 2.5, which is the standard Rockstar style, we have a perfectly UVW mapped object. So even inside, you can see it. So cool. So we just did our first material. So let's do our next one. So this one's going to be walls. Standard GIMS-V material, room ID to 1. Let's do, oh no, what did we call this? Yeah, that's walls. We're going to do roof. Okay, we're going to do hard terrain, concrete, no color, don't worry about that. And we're going to make sure we select roof, just like that. Make sure you hit show shader material and viewport, and then hit apply. And it changed to color. Then we're going to go to material editor, roof, open this up. Diffuse texture, embed, empty. We're going to use this Avenger Worn. There we go. Did we apply it? Let me check. It doesn't look like we made it. Sometimes this happens. It's really annoying when it does. So the way it works is sometimes you just have to apply it a couple more times. What I like to do is I'll try and just select the polygons again. And then I'll drag it on there sometimes, or I'll apply it, and then I'll material edit again, and then I usually try to just like reselect the material again. Oops, through diffuse texture. Let's try a different one. There we go. Okay, so Avenger Worn, there we go. All right, so that's good to go. Now we just need a UVW map this section as well. So we just go here, UVW map. Just do a box, 2.5, 2.5, and 2.5. Done and done. Good to go. Next one, let's do our flooring. So we'll rename this to floor, standard, GIMS-V material, hard terrain, concrete, room ID 1, select floor, select show shaded material, apply to your floor. Go to material editor, floor, not options, I'm sorry. You could just click the little globe to bring it up. Make sure you embed before you select the texture, and there we go. Good to go. Let's go ahead and UVW map that. So let's minimize some of that. Go in here, and UVW map, box, 2.5, 2.5, and 2.5. Just like that. Beautiful. So we have everything ready to go there. We have all of our different textures. That pretty much concludes the creation of our shell for our interior. So we're going to save this. And what we're going to do is we're going to select all this stuff right here, and we're going to make a new layer. And if you don't see layers still, make sure you hit sort by layer, and then you hit, you'll be able to make a new layer based on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy, or we're going to clone. We're going to do clone. Make sure this says copy. Do not do instance. You will have issues. So once you have it as copy, hit OK. Go up here, hit new layer. It'll move everything into your new layer, and you can call this layered collision. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to hide the shell. We're going to select one of these. And make sure you collapse your UVW maps as well. Apparently I didn't do that. So let me just collapse those. Yeah, let's collapse those real quick. Collapse 2. There we go. And make sure everything is nice and collapsed. Okay, so we're going to combine all three of these together to create our collision. The way that we can do that is if you click on any of them and you go down here over to attach, there is a little attach list. It's a little box next to it. Select the ones you want to attach, hit OK. Good to go. Now you have one individual model here. We're going to call this the Best Building C is what we're going to call it. So Best Building C. All right, so that is our collision, so to speak. Okay. Whew. There's a lot to take in. There's also a lot to cover as well. But anyway, so we're at the point where what we need to do now is get everything to show up in OpenIV. So how do we do that? Well, we select all three of these. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go open Jim's Evo. And what we're working with is the shell. So we're creating the object portion first. So you're going to go to Create Object. You're going to go to Models. And then we're going to do Model. And then we're just going to click. And that's going to put it right in the center, which is perfect. And we're going to take the one that was just created. And if it's not in the correct place, make sure you move it over to shell, because mine was not. And we're going to call this Best _ Building. And that is going to be the name of our model when it's done, okay? And we're going to modify these LOD distances. We're going to just make high 1000, and everything else we're just going to set down to 0. Now for the rest of it, select all three of these, roof, walls, and floor. We're going to do game mesh modifier, and they should now have a game mesh on them, which is perfect, exactly what we need. So now these 4 are all ready to go. And what we can do is we can go and hide collision for a second, go to schematic view at the top, and you will see a green one called Best Building. We're going to put that one above. We're going to select all 3 of these. We're going to do connect. We're going to move it right up like that. And there we go. Okay, so that's all good there. And we're going to go ahead and move this other one out of the way because we're going to need it in the future here. So make sure this one is detached because it belongs to something else. So this is how you specify what belongs to a game model. So this is our game model, and then this is the stuff that it's going to be drawing. Cool. Now that's ready to go. Let's take a look at Best Building C. And we have Edible Poly. So what we need to do is we need to do Create Object. We're going to go to Collisions. We're going to go to Composite. We're going to click and make sure it's in the right place. And we're going to call this Best Building Collision. And we can turn on the render for that and make sure that we click on Best Building C once more, and then we do Mesh Modifier. All right, so now we can go back on Jim's Evo, minimize it for a moment as we work on this next part. So we have flags, lots and lots of flags going on here. So we're going to do Map Animal, Map Cover, Map Dynamic, Map Vehicle, Map Weapon. Then you're going to do the next one. You're going to do Map Animal, Cover, Dynamic, Vehicle, Weapon. And if you have stairs, you need to export it separately and do like a whole different like map stairs type of thing. But in that regard, we are now done with both of these, and we just need to add collision to a schematic. So this one, just to double check, has a mesh, game mesh, game mesh, game mesh, and everything else is good. So let's go to our schematic view. Hook up the final one, which is this one here. Just gonna right click this, and we're gonna do connect. And it's now connected. Make sure all of your arrows are pointing down. Hit save. Go to Jim's Evo again. And we are going to export to 3ds exports. So hit OK. We're gonna double check everything here. Just open it up, look at it, see if it kind of looks similar to this. Continue. We're going to go ahead and export it all, and we are now completely done with collisions and getting our model ready. So, what's next? OpenIV. Okay, so we're going to open up our DLC pack that we made for Best Building. We're going to import those models. So open up edit mode. Go to open import formats. Let's see, we're going to go to our desktop here, Best Building, 3ds exports, and we are going to include the new ones that we made, Best Building and Best Building Collision. So once we get these in, we'll open these up and we'll take a look. Looks pretty freaking good. It's all there. It's good to go, so it seems. One thing I forgot to mention is that we should have welded all the vertices just to make sure everything was good. We might have some light bleeding through if we do not weld them, so please make sure you weld your vertices, because I totally forgot. But in that regard, that is our YBN, and then this is going to be our other one. So there we go. All in game. So don't worry about this being all like dark like that. It won't show up like that in game. So yeah, so now we're ready to modify the MLO, the YTYP, and everything else that we left in here. So under manifest.yml, let's open that one first. We're going to go through and make sure everything is looking good. Best building MLO, good to go. Best building YTYP, good to go. Polito bar collision, that does not look like something we need. So we need to make it best building collision. Okay, so that's that portion there. Good to go. Save. All right, next one we're going to do the Y map. Edit that. Take a look at it. We have Polito bar collision in here a couple times, so let's fix that. That's going to be best building collision. Best building collision. And then this is going to be the name of the file here. So this is just going to be best building MLO and best building MLO. So make sure all of those are the correct names for yourself, okay? And we're going to go ahead and save. And now we are moving on to our YTYP file. So go to Edit. And we're going to go through and replace what we need to. So Polito bar used to be the name of the original model that came from this. So this is actually just going to be best building. Okay, so we're going to just copy that and paste it. We're going to go scroll down a little bit. We have Polito bar collision here. So we're going to do this. We're going to just paste it in there. Type in collision, and we're going to paste it where we need it. And then we're going to do it down here as well. So this is going to be best building. And you're just going to kind of go down and replace everything that matches that specific kind of like style and format. We're just going through, check the rest. Looking good. Look, oh, we missed one. Looks like right here. Polito best building collision. That's what that is. And then down at the bottom, it says Polito bar YTYP. We'll rename that to best building YTYP. Cool. So we have the entire YTYP file almost ready. We just need to do the portal, which is the last one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save for now, and we're going to open that up again. We're going to go down to the bottom, and we have all these coordinates in here, okay? So how do we determine these portal coordinates? Well, if you go into 3ds Max, we're going to take a look at just the collision, just this one. And we're going to zoom in on here, and we're going to take a good look at this little vertexes here. So the way this works is you take it from the bottom right. It's counterclockwise. So bottom right, top left, bottom left. So we're going to start with the bottom right. And we have -2.42, and then this other one's like -1. But we're going to start with this bottom right one. So -2.42. So go into your OpenIV text editor here, and we're going to get that first coordinate right in this first section here. So we're going to get all these in here. So we're going to do -424, oops, -2.424, a 0, and then 4 additional more zeros. So you need 8 numbers after the decimal point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 151, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 0.0. There we go. So that's our first bit here. This next one is 2.695 for the z-axis. So we can save time by just copying this, pasting it, and then just adding in our number that we need. 695. Okay, that's our first 2 coordinates. Let's do the next one, like so. Oops, I can't see now. Hold on. Let's try again. There we go. This folder file. Okay. So let's try this again. So negative 1.507. Make sure you add enough decimals. 2.426 and 2.695000. And then we could just copy this, paste it on the bottom, change this final one to just zeros. And just to really make sure that we got this right, we're just gonna double check the moment that anything decides to work with me instead of against me. That would be great. All right, 1507, 2426, 0. Looks good. All right. Let's minimize this. And we are now officially ready to actually get this in game. So let's do that. So we're going to take all this data here. We're going to do extract. We're going to extract it to our desktop best building final. Just go ahead and extract it all there. And we're going to minimize this. And we're going to go ahead and go into Codewalker. But let's restart it. Maybe we'll luck out and we'll get it to show up properly. Otherwise, I'm not sure what step we missed there to get it to show properly. Usually it does. Sometimes you're not so lucky. But that just seems to be the case this time around. So we're going to do enable mods, enable DLC. Wait for this to load. What we're going to do is open our YMap file, okay? In the background, I'm going to start GTA 5. Okay. So we can get everything running and we can start adding like props and things to our interior and get in the place that we need it to be. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to load our DLC for best building. And if all goes well, we may or may not see it in here. Probably not, since it had issues with it earlier. Yeah, it still does. That's okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to do open. We're going to go to YMap. Go to desktop, best building, final. And we are going to open just best building MLO. Okay? Open that up. Go to entities. Click on best building collision. Go to go to. And it's going to take us to it. So it's somewhere in this building, right? So what we need to do is we need to move it to the location that we want it. All right, so we're going to move that on over, all the way over to where we need it. And sometimes it does not exactly like being moved. So once we get it over here, we're going to probably reload the YMap after we save it. So that we can properly work with it, because it doesn't always like to show up. Oh, there it is. But only for a second. There we go. Yeah, we can go with that. All right. So this is our YMap. What we're going to do is we're going to rotate it. You can do snapping up here. If you go down to rotation snapping, you can change the degree. I think we'll be okay with 5, hopefully, if we're lucky. I'm trying to remember how to... There's a specific key here for this. If I can remember which one it is. It actually changes the way, like... Nope. Nope, it doesn't seem to matter. Okay. So we're just going to move this over here, and we're going to try and just get this, this little front part lined up with it. Oh, we lost it. Hold on, hold on. Yeah, it seems we lost the... oh, no, it's right there. It's right there. Okay. So we're just going to get that nice and lined up in there, hopefully. Something like that should be good. Okay. So we're going to save this YMap now. So now that we have it in place, we're going to go up here. We're going to do calculate extents, calculate flags, save. Okay. I'm going to close this down. Would you like to? Yes, of course. And then close the project. We're going to reopen it. And hopefully, we will be good to see inside. Yes, we are. Okay. So somewhere included with this RPF file, if you look at the bounds, we have a few entities here. We have a couple lights, right? So what we do to add objects to our interior is you right click on these, right? and then you go add to project, and it's going to open the YTYP file for you. And this is always the way that you should do it. Always, always, always do it this way as much as you can. And we're going to take these lights and we're going to just move them on inside, okay? Put them in our interior. We're just going to throw them over in that direction and just hope that maybe they're going to be in the right places. And then the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this door. We're going to get that rotated over here as well. Make it look all good and such as well. Let's do a little rotation. Bam, just like that. Get that on in here. And lower that a little bit. And maybe we should change the model of the door as well. That would be pretty wise. So what we can do to look for a door is if you go to RPF Explorer, you can look for a similar door. V_ilev is what I like to look for. And usually you'll find a door in here that you'll be able to work with. So let's go with, what does door 1 look like? Yeah, that's a pretty good looking door. Let's try and use that one. So we'll copy the name of that over here. So it's going to be vilev ctdoor01. There we go. And it doesn't seem to have shown up, weirdly enough. Probably because it doesn't think it's valid. That's okay. We'll try another one. vilev ctdoor03. There we go. What about 2? 1. There we go. Alright, I guess I just mistyped it. That's okay, it happens. So we may have done the frame too high, but again, that's okay. Sometimes things just don't go the way you want them to. But we're going to put this door right up in here, right in the front. And that's it. So once we have all that set up, good to go, we're going to recalculate everything just to be super sure that everything's okay. So you go to your YMap, calculate extents, calculate all flags, and you're going to save it. Then you go to YTYP, you're going to do File, Save As, you're going to overwrite the one in your final. And then the last thing is the manifest generator. Make sure you hit generate, save, and we're going to save that in our final as well. There we go. So we're all ready to go ahead and check out the interior. So we're going to go ahead and say no to all the rest of that. So we should be at the point where we just take the files from best building and get them into our stream. So earlier on in this, we were covering all of the, getting that all loaded in there. So if we go to best building, final, we're going to copy everything in here, paste it, going to start our server, and we are going to see if we successfully created our interior. Once we are in, let's get the let's take a look. I probably fell through the map if I'm not mistaken. Yep, let's let that get me back up to where I need to be. And as you can see, we can see inside because our door doesn't fit, but that's totally okay. And there's a little looks like a little decal there as well. And if we are correct, we have our very own interior. And we can double check that this is actually an MLO by doing a rain command, actually. So we're going to make it rain. Got our rain going. And if it's raining inside, then it's not correct. But as you can see, it is not raining inside. So there we go. We have our interior. We're inside. Everything's looking pretty good. We can even do set time to night, and we have a little bit of lighting going on in here as well from just these things, but we can also add our own lights, but those need to be exported in a completely different way. But there we go. And the only issue is like the as you can see, like the lighting is a little weird. It's because we did not cover vertex painting. And that's actually a really important thing that we should cover. So actually, before we end this tutorial, let's cover vertex painting because it's so important. So let's talk about what vertex painting does. It's a little weird. Let's take a look. We did actually have a little thing on it. Vertex colors for lighting. So here's how this works. Vertex colors for lighting will control the ambient occlusion of the model during night, most except for night lights. We'll have it topped to 255, so it gets very dark when night falls. So if you have it, the way this, there's a better way to look at this. There's a really great image down here. Basically, R is ambient occlusion, G is artificial light, and B is moonlight, okay? So what we need to do is we need to paint our vertexes. And there's a little guide in this document that'll tell you exactly what you need to do. But we're going to show you. So let's take a look at the model that again. And because I always forget this, like this is just one of those things. We're going to do the walls first, okay? So what you do, go to Editable Mesh, select all your vertexes like this. And I think we need to, yeah, just scroll all the way down, go to color. We're going to make it pink. All right, so 255, 0, 255. All right, we're going to do that for all of them, okay? So that one's pink. We're going to do the roof next. Editable Mesh, Vertex, select everything. Color, 255, 0, 255. All right, that's also pink now as well. And then the last one we need to do, Floor, Editable Mesh, Vertex, select all. Go down to the bottom, Color, 255, 0, 255. All right, all of our vertexes should be colored pink now, okay? So now what we can do is we just export this again. So we can do export, we can do 3ds export. We're just gonna export the model with our new vertex coloring. Go ahead and close that out. And our next step is getting it in OpenIV. Open the game in the background. Edit. Yes, I wanna continue. We're gonna just import it right on in here. So best building, okay. Let's export this. So we're gonna do export to open format. Or we're gonna do extract, sorry, extract. Go to final, select it, good to go. Go back over to your final folder, copy everything inside, put it in your stream folder. We're gonna take a look how that looks at night. And if everything is going the way I hope it is, this will not be a waste of your time. So let me make sure I restart the game so we get our new files. And then, well, let's see. We'll see what happens. I mean, we're already an hour and 13 minutes into this tutorial, so what could possibly go wrong, right? Connect. And if everything goes well, let's see. Let's see how we do. All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Hopefully we get what we want. If not, it's not the end of the world. It does happen. All right, so we should get the same lighting in and out, hopefully. Yes, beautiful. So as you can see, we have the inside dark like it should be. We have our little lights inside. It's great. That is exactly what we needed. Beautiful. Okay. So there it is, everybody. That is how you do your MLO, how you do interiors, how you get into interiors. It's a very long process. I mean, come on. There's so much going on. But yeah, that pretty much covers it. So I really hope this tutorial will help a lot of you out there because figuring this all out has been a huge pain in the ass. And I just want to say thank you to all the people that have contributed, you know, Dexifex and Decruinator, Ultrons, and Tarkane for his tutorials, and Breeze and Honeynut and Gabs, and everybody else as well, because this hopefully covers the entire process of getting an interior done. So my voice is shot. That's pretty much it for the end of this tutorial, so I do hope that it is useful for some of you out there. But thank you for watching, and I don't know if I'll probably... I doubt I'll make anything like this in a while, so there we go.